Hello again. Basically part 2. I was saying that, these two usually stick, and then this one is, it's a leveling dungeon for the current expansion that you're in. So, like, when we move on the Stormblood, it'll say dungeons level 61 to 69. And this goes up eventually to being level 80 dungeons. And, her stuff usually always asks you to do extremes from a Realm Reborn and one PvP thing at random, but yeah, I assume the rewards will be better for Clyde later in life, but that's probably why I forgot about it. Anywho, we can queue for Lost City of Amdapor Hard and Arm of the Father. See which one we get. If either will pop. Of course, if the queue's gonna take a bit, we can always go work on the main storyline quest. Also, when I ran Dun Sky, I mentioned, when we got to Proto Ultima, that there was a quest I could have picked up. And basically it's this quest. And you pick this quest up, and then when you go through Dun Sky, Proto Ultima will cause this to drop for you, guaranteed at the end of the dungeon. You bring it back and trade it in, and you can get an I-270 accessory of any type. So that's pretty nice. I might as well pick it up, because I might get Dunskite in one of my Alliance roulettes when I'm working on leveling up. Although it's pretty low chance. Oh, there's Arm of the Father. Okay. Looks like we're doing some Alexander raiding. This one gives me mild PTSD. Normal mode's nothing to write home about, but the Savage mode version of this fight, the Arm of the Father Savage, when it came out, it literally broke the Final Fantasy XIV raiding community. That's how bad of a fight it was. And when I say bad, I mean nut-stompingly hard. Like, it was brutal. It was ridiculous. It had a mechanic called Digititis, which put a damage taken up debuff, damage dealt down debuff, and a healing done down debuff. And it would put it on, one of your healers, one of your tanks, and one of your DPS. And then it would do a move called Wash Away, which would knock everyone away. You had to be perfectly centered for Wash Away, otherwise you would get knocked into electricity and paralyzed and stunned. You had I think 8 seconds to resolve Digititis. And how you wanted to resolve it, obviously, is you wanted to put the, damage taken. You want to put that on a healer or a DPS. You wanted to put the damage down on a healer. And you wanted to put the healing down on a tank. And or a DPS, really. But yeah, it was easier to rotate them through the rolls. And there you go, Uncle Chuck. But the problem with that is because of the way latency in this game works, where you send information to the server, and then the server sends it back to you, and almost nothing his client side, the basically you had to swap these debuffs, and that meant basically one person needed to stand still and the other person needed to run through them. So you had to have these meetup spots after the knockback. And the problem is, Wash Away knocks you back in random directions. So it's really easy to put the wrong debuff on the wrong person. And also really easy to miss the swap completely. Beyond that, it is some really high damage techniques. It makes love the club. It's a real rough customer, Living Liquid. There's so much more to it than what I explained to the Savage version of this fight. Just, oh, it was a nightmare. When it transforms into the hand, it has a cleave that is shared damage, but tanks can eat it solo in the normal mode version of the fight. Here's Wash Away. And I'm resting on my bar. See, damage is so high now because of potencies and things that it's split into two hands, even though it didn't look like it. But it's supposed to turn into a tornado as well. But you know, you didn't get to see that because we skipped it due to high damage. If you failed in Magnet, you get a really large HP down and damage dealt down debuff. In the Savage mode version of the fight, everyone got magnet tethers at the same time, so you had to see who your partner was, see your your polarity, and then react accordingly. And if your partner fucked it up, then you got fucked too. And the DPS check was so rough, so tight, that one fuck up like that could cost you the win. Obviously not that hard of a mechanic, but still. It was just jam-packed full of stuff that could screw you over. And the DPS check was literally so tight that even world first groups, weren't beating it until like week 2 or 3 because they needed more gear. Although the DPS check for the fight after it and Savage mode was even more insane, and that was, I think, that hard locked, like the mathers, they mathed it out, and at the time, with accuracy, with lower potencies, the rotations we knew, the gear they had, it was mathematically impossible for them to beat it until the 3rd or 4th week, because they needed weapon upgrades. a few years later, a Japanese group did it at minimum item level, but that was after the introduction of direct hit and increased potencies and rotational changes. So, kind of didn't count. Man, that's cold. Oh, I love the dialogue they write for Sid. We shall see, we shall see. The pulsing heart. I like the unlock noise and text. Let's see what we get. But also, yeah, if we look at our roulettes, you'll see we've got duty roulettes, normal raids, and you know, minimum item level is 170. Because it starts with these Heavensward raids, because this is the first time they actually made it a distinguisher that these were the normal mode, that these weren't meant to be a... I mean, it's not like they're effortless, but they weren't meant to be a challenge, right? And now, with the increased potencies and being able to enter an item level, you know, 275 gear, they are effortless. But, you know, once upon a time, they were a good way to practice your rotation, a good way to get practiced at the game. You know, much better than a striking dummy. I've been considering making some short guide videos, because those seem to always be a thing that people enjoy watching. I probably need to write a script for it so that I could stay on point. But it's really, I mean, I don't think it would really take that long to explain the basics for each role and If anything would take a while, it would be trying to explain the misconceptions that people have about jobs and roles and things like tanking and healing. But perhaps I'm giving it too much thought again. Thing is, I have such a small audience. Even if I did make a guide, like there's already so many other channels making guides. Like, you know, there's Mr. Happy, there's Miztech, there's, you know, those are fight guides, right? They do extreme and savage and ultimate fight guides. But then, you know, for job guides, there's like Disperius, there's Ilya Dalamik, there's, you know, like 12 other channels that are, you know, less popular that I can't even name. But, you know, they've done job guides. I think Zepla did a job guide. Larry Czar's videos are comedy, but those technically count. Let's see if we can't get through some story cutscenes before the queue pops.
Thank you for coming. I wish to speak with you both in a place where privacy was assured.
Sure thing, Griggs of Venheim.
We quite understand. What was it that you wished to discuss?
With my father's passing, the seat of the Archbishop lies vacant. And so, in accordance with canon law, I have assumed his responsibilities. I should stress that this is a temporary measure. It was never intended that the Lord Commander of the Temple Knights serve in this capacity indefinitely. Quite the opposite. The statutes specify that I should surrender my powers as soon as a conclave of the senior clergy and the high houses have named a new archbishop. But in light of recent events, that would not seem appropriate.
I confess I did not expect you to divulge quite so much quite so soon. The details of the Archbishop's plans, perhaps, but the true origin of the war and all it entails?
I too had concerns. But when the Warrior of Light is witnessed returning to the capital upon the back of a dragon, one's options are rather limited. Mayhap I could have concealed certain details, but for how long? And at what risk? Should the truth have come to light in the meantime, how would the people have viewed my silence? After 1,000 years of lies and secrecy, I could not well abuse their trust and hope to be believed. The time for deception has passed. I only wish the people agreed. That some would deny the truth I had anticipated, but not this many. And among the few who acknowledged that my father had to be stopped, no small number questioned our methods.
If they suspect a coup, it will not be long before some turn to violence.
It has already begun, and that on both sides. Men and women of the cloth are being harassed in the streets. Some have even been assaulted in the Broom. Hilda and her people have formed a watch to help us maintain order. But such measures will not prevent the unrest from spreading.
For all our talk of peace, the people remain frightened and confused. For their sake, we must bring the Dragonsong War to a definitive end.
And we should be glad to help you, Sir Emmerich. But what precisely would you have us do?
We wish to treat with the dragons of Annex Shrine. To that end, I would trouble you for an escort and an introduction.
Annex Shrine? You would speak with Vidofnir, then?
We must needs open a dialogue between our peoples. Acting as my representative, Lucia will extend an invitation to their leader, that she might visit us here in Ishgard. Were she still with us, I would of course have beseeched Isel's assistance in this matter. But as she is not, I must ask that you aid us in her stead. Will you do us this favor?
All right.
Thank you, my friends.
It's going to be appropriately timed.
Lucia, I leave the rest to you.
Gonna end the cutscene, or are you just gonna keep it going?
In the wake of the Archbishop's fall, the nation of Ishgard trembled, the faith of her people shaken to its very core. For
Ah,
a
well.
1,000 years had they fought and died, certain of the justice of their cause, only to be told that their holy war was born of the sins of their forefathers. What then for those brave men and women, thus stripped of their righteousness but to despair, to deny the truth and decry its speakers? And what then for those whom they defamed but to hope on, to have faith in a brighter tomorrow? A tomorrow in which man and dragon might live together in harmony, then as distant as the very stars in the heavens.
I was not expecting a, 5-minute cutscene. I was expecting, like a 2-minute thing.
Yet while we dared to hope, deep within his lair the enemy lay, gathering his strength. Nidhogg, now possessed of his 2 eyes and the body of the Azure Dragoon, prizes to which he had laid claim at the very hour of the hero's triumph. As desperately as we sought the solace of peace, the great worm craved the misery of war. Nor was he alone in his misbegotten desire.
Roar, dragon. Roar, roar, roar. I completely forgot that the cutscene even existed. Let's try again. I don't have a penalty yet. So are we going to be dancing on the table now? Nope. She's not even in her strawberry shortcake outfit. You can say that again. Guess I'll, that would work on every job, so urchin loaf it is. guy with a tail feather. Okay. Seems legit, seems legit. Dun, dun, dun. I don't really call her misguided, I'd call her delusional. The commentary's pretty weak. Still thinking about that ninja and that dungeon. And assholes from Hyperion. Oh, let me guess, it's on the 2nd floor, 3rd floor, 8th floor, 20th floor. Ooh, Lost City. Joke's on you, main storyline. I'm doing a dungeon. Oh, for the love of God, please don't be that ninja and gunbreaker. Please don't be that ninja and gunbreaker. If it's that ninja and gunbreaker, I'm just gonna leave the dungeon and do it in the next recording. I am not doing a dungeon for somebody, like for 2 people basically again. Because like that gunbreaker, at least he was, you know, hitting all his globals and shit, using cooldowns, you know. But tank DPS is garbage these days, and gunbreaker is weak at 60. Okay, seems legit. Get a remixed piano. Very nice remixed piano. Oh, I didn't put that other card on during battle, huh? Oh well. Level 62. And some hick drove by in his lifted F-250 with a... where he removed the muffler from the engine. Pretty sure he's got a buddy on the police force, the local police force. So I'm sure he's had noise violation complaints about that damn thing. But I live in a small town and I ain't gonna do jack about it. That's kind of the way of life around here, is people driving big old trucks. really love this dungeon. I like its original version, and I like its this version. Well, yeah, screw it. We're not getting 5 seals. See if they know to actually turn around. They do not. But they gonna learn today. Maybe. Dungeons go so much faster when everyone is participating. These dungeons drop, what's that, I-195? Yes, drops I-195 gear. It's the Dravanian set. It was pretty good when it was, you know, well, it was decent when it was new. Here you can pull the monsters into the light to make them take extra damage. Or full damage, depending on how you want to view it. So this dancer's all super hot to trot. guess the ruins woke up. I love gravity. This dungeon has put me in a far better mood. These pots have a gaze spell that deals damage and blinds you if they're alive long enough. Which, with the enhanced potencies and everyone participating, they're not even going to start casting it, so... Oh wait, no, there it is. Mysterious Light. Swing, swing, magical wedding ring. You might be thinking, if you've seen the Shadowbringers trailer or intro, what? Were Shadowbringers enemy? It's like, no. They just decided that they would reuse the assets from here for Shadowbringers. That's all. That's literally it. I don't know how the Dark Knight missed that on my divination, but they did. Sad panda. No region for you. Just disintegrated. was like the... It has some nice boobs for a statue. Oh, I guess they all left before I could calm any of them, huh? No, the image is still here. Cool beans. Oh, wait. You can examine the closer inspection suggests that the scarlet-hued gems upon its hands and breast were responsible for breathing life into the stone. So it's literally just a statue. Also, I think that was the best use of rescue ever. When it does that Cure 4 cast with the bright shining aura around its feet, the consequence is, well, the way it needs to be resolved is every party member needs to stand in the field. Otherwise, when she casts Cure 4 as an offensive spell, it'll do a ridiculous amount of damage. You know, scaling with how many people didn't stand in the thing. And one person being in it, you'll live. You know, 2 people, you might die. And then if only 1 person stands in it, you know, it's at least with the current HP values when it first came out, it would kill you. So. Why, it was the, seems legit. Seems legit. Okay, we've got what? 15-ish minutes left. That might be enough time for the Fist of the Father, but it's not going to be enough time for the associated cutscenes. So, we'll get back to that main story grind, I suppose. But we're going to get back to it on Red Mage, because Red Mage needs the XP. If you're hearing some weird noises, I had to scratch my nose. It's been really sneezy today, and as a result, it's also been strangely itchy. I kind of hate how they refer to Idleshire as Charlian. It's not Charlian. It's Charlian's colony. Like it's not, and it's like they don't even own it anymore. They don't lay claim to it. They abandoned it. It's not Charlian. Like it's Charlian and it's architecture. It's ruins. It's Charlian ruins. It's not Charlian. Looks like we got another Lalafell in our midst. Bah, humbug. Sorry for all the yawning. It is pretty early in the morning. After this recording's done, I think I'll brush my teeth and get to sleep. Do some more recording tomorrow. I meant to do more recordings than this today, but I just never got around to it. I was busy with my main character, busy with my girlfriend, busy with my dogs. Dooby dooby doo, dooby dooby doo.
I'm terribly, terribly sorry to have kept you all waiting.
Well, at least her voice isn't annoying.
You need not apologize. We arrived but a moment ago ourselves. Pray, allow me to introduce Kryle, who has recently come from the Charlian motherland. She has generously offered to assist us.
Oh, please, think nothing of it. A trip to Eorzea was long overdue. You must be the Warrior of Light. Yes, you certainly do look the part. A pleasure to meet you at last, sir.
Yeah, what if she's saying this to you, you know, you've got like an afro and you're like, you know, like some, like pink-skinned Ellison with like girl hair.
And who is that I spy but young Alpha No Levieux himself? I dare say someone's grown an ilm or two in my absence. Or are those lifts in your boots?
It's just like you show up, you got your dick half out. Like she's like, you certainly do look the part. And it's like,
We, Miss Kryle and I met at the Studium years ago. I shall forever be indebted to her for her sage guidance.
It was no small task keeping him out of trouble, believe you me. The youngest ever to enter the studium, him and his sister, 11-year-old prodigies. Suffice it to say, social graces were not among his list of talents. Striding up to his seniors on his first day, head held high. What was it he said again?
Thank you, Kryl.
He's horrified.
For what? I haven't finished yet. Would you care to attempt a more dexterous deflection?
Mayhap we should save this delightful conversation for a more fitting occasion, when pressing matters do not demand our undivided attention.
A bit much, but better. I can tell you have been putting your skills to use here in Eorzea. Henceforth, I trust you will dazzle me with your eloquence at the first time of asking. Right, on to more pressing matters. Finding Minfilia and the other missing scions.
I gather you have new information to share with us.
A new approach, actually. Tataru recounted the tale of your escape, and it gave me an idea. Simply put, assuming Thancred left some manner of trail when you whisked him away, as is almost always the case with teleportation magics, I am confident I can find and follow it.
Then what are you waiting for?
The wherewithal to do it. The fact is, my abilities aren't quite up to the task. Not in themselves, anyway. If I had Master Matoya's crystal eye, on the other hand...
Then let us all call on her forthwith. I think it best you explain your plan to her in person.
Final Fantasy I reference, yay! Now we're gonna have to zone, or is it gonna automatically zone us? Okay. Deep yawn. Let's see, can I make it? I don't remember the next cutscene being especially long. But then again, I'm not really sure. Alright, Disney Plus, shut up. I don't care about you right now. Rest assured, they are all true. Let's take off this mask. I wonder if anyone looks at Matoya and is like,
Is that trouble I smell? Or did you forget to wipe your boots on the way in?
and they're like, oh, she's a total gilf.
Forgive us, Master Matoya. We will be sure to wipe them on the way out. And may I say how glad I am that age has not yet deprived you of your senses.
Ever so quick-witted, aren't we? To the detriment of your manners. Well, out with it then. What do you want?
Pray, allow me to introduce myself, Master Matoya. I am Kryl, of the students of Baldessian. I hope you will excuse our unannounced visit.
Baldessian, you say? Ah, yes. The old coot set up shop on the Isle of Val, didn't he?
Regrettably, our Order's headquarters and the Isle itself were obliterated by a magic of immense power. I have the blessing of light to thank for my own preservation.
The blessing of light? So you've got the blessing of light too. Huh.
Kryl, you too possess the echo.
No, she means the echo.
Well, yes, of course I do. Our Order is devoted to uncovering the mysteries of Hydaelyn and interpreting her will, particularly through the study of her gift to us. It was in the course of these studies that I met and subsequently befriended Minfilia. She and I have rather a lot in common.
I had no idea.
You weren't supposed to. Not that I wanted to deceive you, you understand, but precautions had to be taken.
Yes, yes, that's all well and good, but you still haven't told me why you're here.
We want your crystal eye. She led with that.
The students of Baldessian are gone, and there is naught I can do to change that. But the signs of the Seventh Dawn can yet be restored, and my dear friend found. You have in your possession an ancient crystal of light, one you call your crystal eye. I believe I can use it to focus my abilities and locate one of the missing scions.
And there I was, thinking you might want to make use of my years of experience. Oh, wait here.
We already did that, though. We did that last time we were here.
Long did I ponder the nature of this crystal and its familiar radiance, but never did I suspect it was a crystal of light.
On the cusp of an umbral calamity, souls blessed with the power of the Echo invariably appear. To aid these, her chosen warriors, Hydaelyn bequeaths to each a slither of her strength in the form of a crystal of light. But as her strength wanes, so too does the potency of her gifts. This crystal, born of an earlier era, is infused with a power far greater than those of this age.
You could travel the length and breadth of the land and not find a crystal even a fraction as pure. Its value is beyond measure, as are the risks inherent in its use.
No two manifestations of the Echo are alike. I, for example, can converse with beings of every shape and size.